Good evening. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable knowledge seekers, today I am your host for the evening. My name is Anana and I am from Bangladesh. Dear knowledge seeker, I am proud to be associated with IGP. IGP is a social and ISO certified international education and training institute. In the last 3 years, we have already served 35 million plus knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 450 plus professions and training facility for skill development, which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professional qualifications. The Institute of Global Professionals is an education institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve students and community resources providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skill just by curing formal education. So, we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. We distribute our service locally, nationally, and internationally to student job seekers, job holders, and also for learners through respective campus locations and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education isn't a business product, it's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminars, courses, award, quiz competition, mentoring, and counseling, etc. On the other side, we are also trying to offer more than 100 premium services for free, like creating our portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivational letter, and wall knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge, which can upgrade all day. Kids learning games website, free courses, converter sites, and many more. We help to empower you to learn to meet their expectations and dreams and become highly skilled people. We implement several training programs, webinars, and offline online courses for youth and learners by professional training speakers and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kinds of youth and to promote the education of their institute of abilities and personalities. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Professionals. We believe that knowledge is love, light, and vision. So we try to understand needs of today's generation and will serve them with good research and practice methods. We must have a genuine concern for the learner. We represent more diversity, growth, and innovation are required. To lead a session with professionalism, passion, and integrity, IGB members are committed to offering effective, best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill levels and value. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we have already completed 2,243 webinars successfully. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we have already completed 2,243 webinars successfully. Dear IGP speakers, participants, and well wishers, at this moment, this is a very important message for you all. We changed and designed our website www.eduigp.com. On this website, we have surprises for everyone. Hope you will be benefited. We already launched our new website where you can find all our previous activities together with lots of new features. But one strong point is that without any account or logged in, you can't enjoy our services. So create your account for once with your proper information. Note that with your proper information, you will enjoy all features. With mismatches data, you can do anything here. From now on, you have to participate in live quiz competition on our website. We replace Slido. You have to join directly on our website. Now you can check all of our previous webinars with verified e-certificates. Now it's easier and time oriented because after this session, we will not provide you with any code for certification. You have to take part in one exam. After that, if you passed, you will receive your certificate, otherwise not. But you can take part in an exam unlimited till you pass. If you are an IGP speaker, you can download all your previous certificates, speakership certificate. If you are a host of IGP, you can download your certificate of gratitude. If you are an online quiz competition winner, you can download your certificates of participation. If you are selected for a lifetime membership, then you can download a certificate of lifetime membership easily. Besides this, if you participated in any award function which organized combined support with IGP, you can download that also. You can instantly prepare and download 18 type of instant certificate from our website within a minute. Certificate of Global Professional Membership, Certificate of Global Influencer during the pandemic, Certificate of Active Knowledge Seeker, Certificate of Social Activists during the pandemic, Certificate of Achievement IGP Knowledge Seeking Campaign 2020, Certificate of Achievement IGP Knowledge Seeking Campaign 2021, Certificate of Achievement IGP Knowledge Seeking Campaign 2022. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 1, Authentic Assessment in Teaching Learning. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 2, Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 3, Digital Classroom Engagement 2. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 4, The New Trends in Education. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 5, Upskilling Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 6, Strengths and Innovation Mathematics Education. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 7, Research a Comprehensive Approach. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 8, Art in Teaching a Special Program in the Arts. Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 9, 21st Century Tools in Teaching Mathematics. Certificate of IGP Corporate Ambassador, Certificate of IGP Campus Ambassador, which you can prepare and download within a minute. From now on, you can participate in 1000 plus international level quizzes with verified e-certificates, teaching tips for teachers, teaching health tips for parents, health tips for teens, gamification tools for teachers. You can join IGP Alumni also. You can check out our 50 plus premium services website for free and many more. Dear IGP well-wisher, we promised previously, but lack of technical issue, we are late sending you on time. This is a great opportunity to collect your previous credential. We solved all issue from our website. Now you can enroll, reset password, everything. You can check your dashboard for all webinar details. It's a cordial request to you. Check all buttons and pages on our website. Surely I can say that you will be benefited. Thank you. But note that without an account or logged in, you can't enjoy our services. Today in this session, we can connect to today's in this session at present, we are going to start our 2242 program, and program name is Innovative Pedagogies in Classroom, and our honorable speaker is Sir Abhinav Datta, teaching faculty biology, Shivnadar School, Noida, India. Now is a very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with his presentation. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir. Hope you're doing well, sir.
Yeah, I'm well. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Sir, on behalf of IGP Knowledge Seeker wants to hear from you about you, sir. Now the stage is yours, sir. Over to you, sir.
Uh, I have been into teaching from past 10 years. Teaching has been something which has been into my blood, into my DNA, because I come from a teaching family as well as a background where my parents, my wife, everybody is involved into teaching. Teaching, I think, is something which is a lifelong process. It is something which is not new, but it starts inculcating right from our childhood as we grow, as we enter into professional life. It is something which grows with us and it remains with us till lifelong. So I have been an avid reader. I have worked with good schools in India, that's Delhi Public School, Shanada School. I've also worked with one of the best companies, that is Schoolnet India, as an academic coordinator. I have been into engineering. I've done my BTech and MTech, and presently I'm a PhD pursuant. And I've just been a gold medalist in my PhD in MTech. And today I am very, very thankful to Institute of Global Professionals for giving me such an innovative opportunity to interact with such a wide audience all across the world, and to share my views of how I am doing best practices in the classroom and how I'm making my classroom an effective, interesting classroom. So thank you so much, Institute of Global Professionals, for considering me to share my views as well as to have a very interactive session with such a wonderful as well as such a renowned audience. Thank you so much, ma'am. May I please share my screen if you allow? Over to you, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Please share your screen, please.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Just a second. So, good evening, wonderful audience. It's a very bright evening and a very bright day. I hope you all had a great time today. So, I am extremely thankful to Global Professionals, Institute of Global Professionals, for again giving me a chance to share my views, to share the innovative pedagogies that I have been doing into my classroom to actually understand how these innovative pedagogies work. So, it is actually a matter of great pride to share how the pedagogies, how the classroom can be made interesting, and how we can actually induct new ways by which the teaching learning process can be made as effective as it can be. Because teaching is a lifelong process, there is no end towards, there's no dimension, there is no end towards teaching. We keep on learning during our classrooms, we keep on learning from the experiences of our children, and we as educators together work and define different pedagogies, different tools, different instructional methods which can make our classroom interesting. Another thing that I would like to add, that COVID has been a big time savior for all of us. COVID-19 period has been the one where we were able to remodel our education system. We had shifted from a normal, uh, the live classroom, the physical classroom that we normally today go back to, towards the virtual classroom, where we were able to explore different ways, different methods, different tools, different techniques by which the teaching and learning can be made effective. So I'm again very, very grateful, and I am sure by the end of this session, you guys will also enjoy. You would also like to know how the classroom can be made interesting. So I would like to start with a very simple picture. Now, this is a man who's sitting in front of four, five objects in front of him. So, can we guess what these objects could be? So, this object could be anything. For me, as a layman, I can say that these are simple pens. Anyhow, moving on to the next slides. Well, if I go to the close picture, I would say these objects seems to be pen with different cameras. So yes, these are again the very common tool which I think teachers and students very commonly use. That is our pens, but pens with a camera is definitely a new technology. So here what we see in this particular picture, the man was sitting with a set of pens, as we all sit in our staff rooms, as we all sit in our classrooms. We have a set of pens. We have a pen stand where we keep different pens. But these pens are different from others because they have a camera inbuilt into it. Now, why this camera is useful? I would be very happy if we can all share our responses in the chat box while I'm asking you questions and while you guys are interacting with me, because that will make the process very interesting as well. And I'm sure by the end of this session, with all your inputs, with all my suggestions and uh, my feedbacks, we can all build up a very effective classroom. And when we go back to our classrooms, we can definitely have a lot of takeaways from this particular workshop that we are today happening today. So we can see that there are different pens, and in some of the pens, we can see a unique feature, that's the presence of a camera. Now, why pens with a camera? Well, pens with a camera can definitely help us to monitor, definitely help us to monitor our classroom, our surroundings, the area where we are sitting, the area where we are standing. Again, now what we are doing is we have kept that particular pen, and we have also placed these two cameras adjacent to it. These are two standing cameras. So what we can see in all of these presentation in this is that as the technology is developing, as we are becoming more, as we are moving, as we are becoming sound towards the technology, same is that technology being used in our classroom. In the previous era, when we started off with computer system, we were not even having a keypad. It was difficult for us to type. Today, we are shifting towards a keypad which is without keys. So we are moving towards an AI keypad where we just speak the word and that word is automatically typed into the system. And for that matter, we are using different pens. So you can see that pen here is serving as a role of keypad. So if we relate to the first picture that was shown to us, there was a man sitting in front of a bunch of pens in the classroom. Some of the pens, when we zoomed them up, they had those cameras, and when we opened these pens, what we were able to see, we were able to see that these are not the normal pens. They're actually AI based pens. They are artificial intelligent pens. They can open a keypad in front of us, they can open a screen in front of us, and whatever we want to show to our students, they can definitely show. So, the moral of the story, the moral of this small little presentation, the small little pictorial description is that since the world is changing, since we as human beings are evolving, so do the surroundings, so do the environment, so do the equipments that we have been using, like chalk, like pen, like duster. It's all also evolving. It's not the same that we used to have in the previous era. It has actually evolved. Nowadays we are having pens, and those pens are AI based pens, and those AI based pens not only help us to write something, but it also helps us to do different activities together. So my discussion point today is going to revolve around all these pedagogies, all these new instructional methods that we as teachers have been invariably using in our classroom, that we as teachers have been invariably utilizing, understanding, and making a teaching learning process very, very effective. So, with this, I embark my today's journey. Again, thank you for uh, bringing me here, and thank you for sharing all your. Thank you for having a session that we will take together. So, with this, my today's objective of taking you towards this presentation, towards this conference, is that learning is dimensionless. We can learn with a simple pen also. This AI based pen can open a smart screen in front of the classroom. It can open a keyboard towards a teacher. Teacher can definitely type the topic she wants to teach, and it can come very clearly on the screen, helping the students to actually understand a diagram, or maybe a mathematical geometrical shape, or maybe a system in the body that we do not find it that easy. So that's a keyboard without a keyboard. So what, the pen is actually a keyboard, and that's a keyboard without a keyboard. So yes, it's an AI keyboard. In simple words, it's an AI based keyboard. It's a smart keyboard. So we have smartphones with us, where we prefer to use touch pads, where we prefer you to use pens. Similarly, this is also a pen that is having a smart keyboard with us, and that's how technology is evolving, and that's how a pen is evolving. So, like a pen can evolve, why can't a teacher evolve? Gone are those days when we were traditional based teachers, when we were actually the ones who used to come into the class and say, whatever I'm teaching, please note down. No, we are not those teachers. Today, we are the teachers who actually follow whatever our child wants to learn. Let's give them that studies. Let's give them that flexibility that the learning becomes dimensionless. So with this, I start my today's presentation. I start with the education. Education is coming from the word educare. Educare is to bring up, is to raise, and that raising is from one level to another. That raising is from one classroom to another classroom, from one student level, like my child was in grade 2 to in 2024, then he is going to raise his level and is going to enter in grade 3 in 2025. So that's what education is all about. It is to bring up, to raise, and to raise an individual in such a way that the individual becomes a lifelong learner, so that the individual becomes a very refined learner. Educare is to lead out, to draw. Education is made from two words, educare and educare. Educare is to lead, and educare is to raise. So we, as an educators, are playing the role to draw. We as educators are playing the role to built the kids, to raise the level, to standardize them, to train them, so that they are able to face the world once they complete their education in a very effective way. So I think a person who's very well educated is the person who's actually very well raised, is the one who knows basic principles, is the one who knows how to talk, and is the person who actually stands well in the society. So according to me, education is coming from the word educare, which is to bring up. And who helps to bring that education up is actually the ones who actually are the teachers, who actually check out the capacities, who nurture the students in such a way that the students' best capacities are brought out. Why do we study? Why do we educate? What is the major objectives of education? The major objective of the education is cognitive development. Cognitive development is knowledge, effective domain, which is feeling, and a psychomotor domain, which is a skill. So there are three objectives of education. There are three objectives of the education. There are three objectives of education: cognitive, effective, and psychomotor. Cognitive is based on the knowledge that we have actually gained from our ancestors, the knowledge of knowing something. Thinking is cognitive if domain that a child usually learns. And I would like to give the best example is in our early years, the cognitive domain is the one by which a child actually starts to play. Child starts to touch various types of toys, and from those toys he's able to understand how those toys can be arranged together. He's starting to learn on his own, on his experience, and that's very well which happens during the cognitive or the early years. Effective domain is the one which you actually feel, which you actually understand as you grow. And psychomotor domains are the skills you acquire while you work, application or doing. Like when you solve mathematical problems, when you apply, when you buy fruits from the market, you start to apply it, you start to do it. So there where the education objectives are: cognitive, effective, and psychomotor. What is teaching for us? Teaching is a disciplined social process. It is the process by which a teacher is going to influence. Now, what is going to teacher influence? The teacher is going to actually modify, influence, understand the behavior of a pupil, of a child who's not very well experienced, and then will condition, will bring changes in the behavior according to the needs of the society. It's a very beautiful quoted line by Morrison. Morrison says teaching is a social process. It's not a non-social process, it's a social. You are actually conditioning some other's child. So you are actually helping the society. So a teacher is the one who helps the society. Teacher is the one who conditions the behavior of the child, who develops the behavior of the child according to the technology, according to the need of the society. So teaching altogether is the one by which we bring about the change in our individuals, in our students, and make them a better citizen, a better individual, and make them unskilled, experienced students. So once they cross their +2, they're able to actually understand things in a very effective manner. What is the aim of the teaching? It is to bring socially desirable behavioral changes in the students, is to bring desirable changes, is to bring the best changes so that the student can face the world as he grow up. So during the schooling, a child is taught, a child is conditioned, a child is modified, a child is made effective in such a way that the child can actually face the world in an effective way. So, before we move towards the pedagogy, we must understand that how the classroom was looking in the previous era towards today's era. In the previous era, the classroom was a not very well developed classroom. Students were being able to sit outside in under the tree, and today, if we see the present classroom, the classroom is a very effective classroom. Today's classroom, as we compare towards the previous classroom, is the one where the learning takes place, and that's a lifelong learning that's happening. Initially, the classroom was a very traditional based classroom where the students were not having a very well versed technology. But if I today see, the classroom is a very well developed classroom. We have smart boards, we have different technologies, we have air conditions, we have globally developed components that are placed in the classroom. So since the scenario is changing, same is how the technology changing. What are the traditional methods that we were using in the previous era? Traditional method was a very direct instructional method, which was based upon the traditional based pedagogy. It was not at all a constructivism approach. It was a very basic approach where the teacher was considered to be the source or the sender. She used to send the information. Students were on the receiver end. They used to receive the information and they used to process that information. So previous education method was a very bland method. A bland method is the one where student is just listening passively. There was no active discussion in the classroom. There was no development. It was just a one-way communication going on between a teacher and a student, where teacher was very firm in explaining the concept and student was also very passive towards receiving that concept. But now the everything has changed. In fact, there is a 360 change towards our classroom. So I start and begin with my pedagogies that I think have been typically a very important pedagogy that we all have to use. The first one is an interactive whiteboard or smart boards. Smart boards are computer based devices or the projectors, which I think most of us, in fact, 95% of all the classroom, right from the government to the private schools, have been using. In those particular smart boards, a teacher can use whiteboard as well as an interactive whiteboard which displays a picture, 3D picture, which displays a 3D concept, which uses pens. These are called the smart pens, and we can draw these smart diagrams, we can color them up, so it creates a 3D picture. So like for example, if I take my example, I use my IFP in such a way that's an interactive flat panel, that's a smart board that is there in my system. I split my screen. Now, split screen is in such a way that half of the screen is one where I write something, and half of the screen is one where I show a diagram. So I actually enjoy my classroom because I show diagram to half of the class, and to the other class I write on the board. So that's how I've been using my interactive flat panel. So first innovative pedagogy that I would suggest is the use of innovative interactive whiteboard in the classroom. Why do we use these interactive whiteboards in the classroom? We use interactive whiteboards in the classroom because they save lesson, they create video files, we can use built maps, we can present the presentations, we can present the presentations, we can use digital storytelling, we can teach a whole group keyboarding skill, we can do a lot of brainstorming, we can take notes from the presentations, we can reinforce skills, we can use highlighters, and we can also navigate the internet. Web-based learning is e-learning method because there's a lot of content that's available online. So one of the innovative pedagogies that we can always inculcate is web-based learning. We can use emails for explaining English concepts. We can use video conferencing where we can interact with all across the world, different students available. We can use live lectures, which students can use at home and can develop flipped classroom where we can just flip the class, give a topic to the child, show them the live lecture that we have prepared, and ask the child to present on that. We can also use colored printed pictures because that will help our student to make pedagogies very, very important. These are some tools that we can use. I will also come back to various pedagogies that I've been using in my classroom. Web based learning is based upon the principle of small steps. We don't have to go big. We start from basic, small little chunks of the web based tools we can use. Principle of active response. We have to collect the response and feedback from the children as effectively as we can. Principle of immediate confirmation. We can give a confirmation when we see the child is ready. Self pacing. We should give them freedom to prepare the concepts on their own. And again, we have to evaluate. So if we have given them a web based tool, for example, a holiday homework to watch a movie, we can always give them a question bank or maybe a sheet where the questions are available and we can evaluate them effectively. Web based learning helps the child to become very flexible, to learn on his own pace, makes him a very independent learner. It gives them the approach to grow as a student centered learning. You get an immediate loop feedback because teachers have inbuilt answers placed in the assignments and they give them an instant feedback as well. Evaluation is also very fast. Child feels motivated because he or she can learn at any time, at any point of time, anywhere at the home. It is extremely accessible because the child can learn anywhere around the globe. It gives individualized instruction and content is easily updated. Blog. Another tool that we've been very actively using is the blog that has been very commonly studied. Blogs are shorthand forms where a child is able to write in online diaries as well as the online publications. It is also the person who writes a blog is called a blogger. It posts the text, it hyperlinks. A child can write, draw images, show multimedias. He's the owner and can also delete the matter. Comments can be provided and it's also giving them opportunity to write and share. So these are some blogs.coms where we can click on them. Blogger's page is open. We can type the blogs into it. We can type our data. We can paste different pictures. We can add poems. Poems can be added. So anything can be done with the blogs. And blogs always helps us to improve our vocabulary, helps us to become deep learners, and rather than being a very shallow learner, they help us to develop a deepened knowledge as well. All of us have been using learning management system or the course management system. These are different softwares which we can definitely introduce in our study materials. They are the learning systems which every school is nowadays employing, where the FaceTimes are done, where video telecastings are done, where attendance, marks, assignment updates, classroom dynamics, students' names, everything is accessible. Those who are absent can be immediately informed. Parents have been informed. So that's how, in the innovative pedagogy, we are moving from a traditional classroom towards a modern classroom by using these learning management systems. So LMS definitely has a, as a click towards what we used to do in the previous time. One of the very effective way, which is very famous nowadays and is being very commonly used in the classroom, is the use of podcast. Podcasts are the audios or the videos that are available on the web. So nowadays, in the podcast, a podcast sessions can also happen between two individuals, where two of the individuals, one of them is an interviewer, another is the one which shares the views. I've been invited in one of the podcasts where I had to prepare my podcast in one of the chapters. In fact, students beautifully prepare podcasts these days, in which they basically tell the concept, they mimic a concept, they present their concept in the form of a video, in the form of an audio. uh, Updating is very feasible in that instructor can add valuable points in a podcast, so it can also help us to develop the knowledge. So that's how the podcast usually work. Podcasts are the easiest as well as the most effective way by which we can voice out our opinions, and that's been very commonly used as a part of new modern pedagogy, which we can all use in our chapters. Like I use in my biology classes, I give them a topic like, for example, cell. I give them explain about the cell. So I give them time to prepare a podcast in which they collect and research a lot of things about the cell. And once they're able to write those points, then they basically prepare their own voice. They tell us the voice, or I may give them a justifying question that, do you think that cell is the structural and functional unit of life? Justify. So they give their views in that podcast, and then I collect the podcast, and then we listen together. And that's how it basically works and makes our classroom a very effective classroom. The most important today in this world is virtual reality. We are all moving towards AI. I'm sure you all are very well versed about it. AI is artificial intelligence. AI is virtual reality. AI is immersive. It's a multi-sensory sensory information program that actually helps you to track the working of a person in a real time. It is immersive because you generate the input. into the user's sensory system. So you try to mimic the body, and that mimic of the body will try to do all the work that you people are able to do yourselves. So for example, if an AI has read the book, AI is going to tell the robotic systems is going to tell you what it is. So as a biologist, I've been able to see that AI is becoming so effective that it is also very commonly used these days into operations, into medical sciences, that we can easily, with the help of AI, we can get a physical imaging of the heart. We can see where the heart is not pumping, and on the basis of that, we can give a treatment, or maybe we can take out that particular piece easily if we get a complete picture of that heart. So once the person is in the operation theater, with the help of AI system, we can get a complete 3D picture of the heart. We can revolve it around, move it around. With the help of our hands, we can move that heart up and see where the blockage is there, and we can treat it immediately. It's highly interactive. It's the hour of the need. Our classroom is becoming AI classrooms. Our classroom is adding virtual reality into it. It's an emerging field in science. It's an enabling field. It works. It creates illusion. So I can create my AI. I can create my virtual double. So you can see Abhinav sitting along with Abhinav. I can create an illusion. It's an immersive multi-sensory computer-based device. It's a natural interface to computer. It's a synthetic representation of a human body as well, of work that we are doing altogether. So with the help of virtual technologies, we can see visual displays. We can see stereo glasses around us. We can see tracking systems, input devices, sound systems, haptic devices, graphics, and software tools. So a lot of things have been explored, and a lot of things have actually come into picture by using this AI, which is coming up. That's how a virtual classroom nowadays look like, with AI sittings into that. So in a virtual classroom, a teacher may sit actively on the computer side, and students may sit at their home flexibly understanding. Like for example, the present presentation going on, conference, you guys are all sitting on your devices and listening to me very patiently. We are actually practicing virtual classroom. So this is actually brought up from the COVID era. COVID has been able to let us explore the other side of a teacher. We've all been working very actively towards one side. Suddenly, a complete drastic blast comes, and we all move towards another zone, and we all start to practice what we call it as virtual classroom, where we sit, where the teachers and students are connected through screen. So whenever any sort of nowadays, whenever there's a change in concepts, whenever there's a change in any calamities, any natural changes comes across, we all move towards the virtual classroom, and that's how we people are becoming so effective towards it. Some other ways by which we can actually inculcate the modern technology around us. So, what are the massive other tools, effective possible technologies that we've been using is massive open social learning. So, we've been actually forming social learning groups where we are conversing together, we are sharing resources, we are linking our conversation to the learning content. So, we are creating short duration courses. So, we are creating short duration courses where a lot of learnings have been done, and social media and gaming have been used. We are also using flipped classroom. This is one of the most effective and engaging way of classroom that we've been employing. What happens in a traditional classroom was teacher was able to give feedback directly to the child using a direct instruction method. Today we are moving towards flipped classroom where a teacher is at a passive role. Teacher gives a child an opportunity. The topic is being given. The child prepares that topic at home, comes next day to the class, presents his points and views, and then discusses with the class. And that's how the flip is done. So in the flip, child becomes a teacher and teacher becomes a child. So we just flip our roles. So it has been said that can we flip our roles? Yes, we can flip our roles. We are no longer a teacher. We become so flexible that a child becomes our teacher. Child prepares and researches, and we become moderator. We start adding our viewpoints. We help the child to develop critical thinking and research-based aptitude. We help them to work collaboratively amongst group. We help them to share their ideas together. Once they come into the classroom, they're very well versed with the concepts, and then they share together. So with IB curriculum coming up, with international baccalaureate, the classroom is not a teacher-centric classroom. It has become a child-centric classroom today. And the one of the most innovative pedagogies that's practiced is a flipped classroom. So how I use flipped classroom in my class is I give my students a topic. I ask them to prepare their topic, and next day they come and they basically present their views, and I give them feedback on that. So that's how I have been flipping my classrooms together. One of the most important pedagogies that have been introduced to the society is dynamic assessment. It focuses on the overall progress of the child. It doesn't focus on the last moment assessment, that is an end term assessment. It's basically called as a formative assessment. A formative assessment is the one where the child is examined at every hour, at every, we can say, week of the assessment. It is not a summative one. It's a very diagnostic assessment. It is a formative assessment and it leads to diagnostic assessment. So wherever we feel that the child is not working effectively, we where the child is facing difficulty, we move towards the diagnostic test. We give them a test to solve, and then the assessment is basically performed. That's how it is called dynamic. That's how it's called unique, because you're no longer checking the understanding of the child at the end of the examination. You are checking it in chunks, you're checking it in pieces, you're checking it in bits. Every hour you are assessing a child, maybe by a role play, maybe by a flipped classroom, maybe by a storytelling method, maybe by a normal worksheet, maybe by an online learning tool, maybe by learning management systems, maybe by their assessments. So that's how dynamic assessment works. Event-based learning is what we do these days, where we take the child to an event that creates a memory, that also helps the child to create national gathering. Event-based learnings are so effective because you actually take the child towards a historical place, ask the child to learn, ask them to collect their inputs, and then the next day you take a test. Or you may ask them to organize an event, maybe an event of a competition, of a rangoli competition, a dance competition, a fair, a science fair in the school, and then you ask them to assess and learn from the research that they've done. This is another innovative pedagogies that have been very less used. Bricolage is playing. It is gamification. It's another name to gamification, where we actually where we learn by using quizzes, where we use different gamifying methods. We use different games like quizzes is there. There is Kahoot. There is word walls. Then there is Damshrat. Physical games we can play. Antakshri. Different way games. We can also play parcel in the parcel. We can play musical chair in the classroom, or we can play musical chair using a web tool. And that's how bricolage work. It's a fundamental child, because I think child learns best when the child plays. That's my personal experience. uh, you give them wings to fly, and you will see that they will fly so beautifully well that your concepts will also be taught in a way that's very innovative. And the answers, the discussions would go to another level, which I think would not go into a traditional classroom normally. Crossover learning is again where you share the link of an educational content, and those links are the ones which are going to resolve the with issues that matter to learners on their life. So you give them crossover learning is one where we basically learn on the basis of experiences of our life. So we basically learn from the experience of our life, from day to day life, from the informal questions, from the happenings at our home, from the discussions going on in our family. We're able to learn from that. That's where it's crossover learning. That's where we cross the boundaries. We no longer are traditional schools where we go into the school with a backpack and we study from the discussion going on in the classroom. We actually learn from each other. We actually learn from home, from our family. So we give them content which they can apply. They may do a research project on water safety. They may do a research project on collecting some data on the basis of electricity usage that they have. So all these things can be done in crossover learning. So, with this, I will close my pedagogies. So, we have a massive open social learning. We had a flipped classroom. We had dynamic assessment. We had event based learning. We had bricolage. And we had crossover learning. I have a very small Padlet link with you, which I would like to share. Uh, I would request everyone to reflect what kind of pedagogy did they like, and they would like to use it in their classroom. and how would they take that pedagogy into the classroom. So I'll just quickly brief it up. First, social learning, where we connect together with different classrooms together. We connect with different people all over world, and this can be done by Skype. This can be done by Google Meets. This can be done by Zoom. This can be done by Microsoft Teams. We can all come together and we can discuss the best better practices. We can make our students meet each other and cross those boundaries that have been very restricted nowadays, which had been restricted previous era. And let's be very clear. Flip classrooms, we exchange our roles. We no longer be a teacher standing in the classroom. We make our student become a teacher and we sit passively and discuss and add our feedbacks. We do not assess the child once, but we assess the child regularly, holistically, every time, every month, every week, through assignments, through worksheet, through classwork, through oral test, through role plays, and then we give them an overall progressive report. We give them different events, ask them to organize events, to go to different fairs, to go to different historical places, to go to different learning expeditions, and then they share their feedbacks, they research, and then they share, and then they answer the questions that we give them, and that's the how they become experienced and event-based learning. We play games and we ask them to learn from those games that we play together. We cross the boundaries and give them real life situations that they apply at home and are becoming and give us answers on that situation, and that's how we basically go to different innovative pedagogies. So that's how this my presentation would look like to everyone. That's how what I have been able to gather as after my 10 years of experience in teaching. That's how I have been using, and somehow I've been working together in the corporate also in any of the opportunities that I take up. And I'm sure that you must have been very, this session would have been a little reflective to you. You might have been able to get some insight of new pedagogies that I have been somehow variably or invariably using in my classroom, and I'm sure that you would have liked it. You would have been able to gain some insight from it, because that's if we start 1% of it is introduced into our classroom will become very effective. Trust me, our students will become fond of us. They'll start loving us because we are no longer the traditional teachers. We are the modern teachers, and we're moving towards the modern pedagogies. We're moving towards the modern science and modern life issues. So, with this, I again like to. I'm open to the feedback. I'm open to the to this particular activity which I have given. You can scan this code and probably do it when you're free. This is just the one activity time which I would like to create, to do with all my people who are watching me, and maybe they can do it afterwards whenever they're free, so that I can get an insight whether you liked any one of the pedagogy or not, and which do you think can be used in the classroom, which you can use in your own classroom to make teaching learning an effective process. So over to you, ma'am, Institute of Global Professions. After this session, I would also like to share an activity with you where I'll give you a question and answers, and definitely you can go through all these question answers. So I hope this session would have been effective. And ma'am,
Hello, sir.
yeah, ma'am, I have completed it. So can you hear me, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you. Thank you so much, sir, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seeker surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new, which was our only intention: learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seekers. Once again, thank you so much, dear sir, for your presentation. Now, sir, it's time for our questionnaire session, which is the most important, valuable part of our regular webinars. Honorable sir, please stay with us after a short video. We will be back in our session part 2, which is the questionnaire part. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After questionnaire, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After questionnaire, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP
I
Knowledge
think
Seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After questionnaire, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After questionnaire, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition.
There is a query that has come from Kyla Castro. Hi, Miss Kyla. Active learning allows the more students to take a more active role in the learning. Yeah. So I would like to bring that up into my point of frame. Again, I'm trying to tell you in the flipped classroom, what happens is it's a child-centric, a student-centric approach where we teacher do not have to take a role. We have to assign a topic to the child, ask them to go through a research, maybe prepare or read something of that content, give them a day's time or maybe or 2 days time, depending upon how much is the length of the content and how much you would like to take. You can take it in the classroom as well. You can do it as a group activity. Give them the topic, ask them to brainstorm, read about the concept, and next day, once they study at home, maybe as a study material, next day when they come back, take a small presentation, ask them to give their inputs, let them present in front of you, and that's how the flipped classroom will work, and that's how they will be actively involved in the learning. So I do take your point, Kyla, Miss Kyla. This is what active learning is all about, and that's how we basically have been doing. I have been doing in my class in biology is I give them a topic of science, I ask them to prepare at home, which I feel is a very typical topic. They do prepare the concept map, and then the next day come and present it in the class, and it goes beautifully well. I work as a moderator and give them my feedback during that. I hope I'm able to bring, you know, throw some light on what you've been.
Yes, sir. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Sir, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topics. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable Sir, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new date. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful joining
Honor-
IGP. Thanks a lot.
Honorable, welcome, sir. Honorable Sir, before we move to the next webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, you can, sir.
Sure. Thanks a lot once again, ma'am. You've been very helpful in the process. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, sir. IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. So, certificate instruction is visit www.eduigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website, find a running session, and get enrolled. After watching or completing part 1 video session, click mark as complete, move to the next, which is the learning test quiz. Passing mark is 80%. If pass, back to the course again to download your certificate. If fail, to retake the quiz. Download your certificate in PDF or JPG. For your attention, I'm going to share the procedure again. Certification instruction is visit www.eduigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website, sign up or sign in, find a running session, and get enrolled. After watching or completing part 1 video session, click mark as complete. Move to the next, which is the learning test quiz. Passing mark is 80%. If pass, back to the course again to download your certificate. If fail, to retake the quiz, download your certificate in PDF or JPG. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. We changed a few process for online live quiz competition. Note that after live, no one can participate. Participation process is now time for the online quiz competition. To join online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Now time for the online quiz competition. To join online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Visit www.eduigp.com, sign up or sign in. Without this, you can't join live quiz competition anymore. Browse the live quizzes button or given link, find the session name and join with your logged website or user account. Click join and wait for a few minutes for others to join. Enjoy an online live quiz competition. After the quiz, we will issue certificate for the top 10 as previously, which you can find on our website and official Facebook page, Institute of Global Professional. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. So our first question is, to be a forward-looking education institution embracing innovative teaching pedagogies in a creative and challenging. Option A or B. So 94% is correct. And next question is, pedagogies are only important in the classroom. Option A or B. So our correct answer is B, and the percentage is 88%. Our next question is culturally responsive pedagogies can make a difference to learning in the classroom. Option A or B. Correct answer is A, and 100% people are correct. And our next question is cult- which is not a key theme to inform teaching pedagogies in classroom. Option A or B. Correct answer is B, and 94% people are correct. And our next question is as diversity in classroom increases, more culturally responsive pedagogies are needed. Option A or B. Our correct answer is A, and 100% people are correct. And our next question is where can you find some reading pedagogies that you can use in your classroom? And option B is correct, and 56 people are correct. And our next question is why does the teacher implement innovative learning in your classroom? Option A or B. And correct answer is B, and 0% people are correct. And our next question is when considering acoustic in an innovation classroom, you should. Option A or B. Option B is correct, and 59% people are correct. And our next question is why did Andrea decide she needed to change her teaching pedagogies in her science classroom? Option A or B. And the correct answer is B, and 83% people are correct. And our next question is how do you encourage new teachers to be innovative in their classrooms? Option A or B. And the correct answer is option A, and 100% people are correct. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winner top 10. Congratulations again. We will take a few minutes to final the result, and after that we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our website and official Facebook page, Institute of Global Professionals. After that we will issue our online quiz competition certificates on our website and online Facebook page, Institute of Global Professionals. After that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificates on our website and official Facebook page, Institute of Global Professionals. At the end of our session, we can say properly, feed your school, never stop learning because life never stops teaching us. Be happy and stay safe. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. Before I say or hit the end live button, again wants to thank all IGP knowledge seekers for your active participation as well. See you in the next session. Thank you.